Hey everybody, welcome to the Coaches Show. 2024 is ready to go. Sitting beside me in the coach's chair is David Schuster, your head coach of the Mission Prep Royals. I'm Brian Stanley, back in the driver's seat with you on the 2024 mission. And the Royals off to a start this season, heading out to San Diego. But let's first talk about training camp, Coach. How did training camp go? What are some of the familiar faces coming back to this year's roster? And what can we expect from this year's Royals?
Mhm. First off, Brian, it's great to be back. It's football season and best time of the year. Um, Training camp was great. Camp week was it was intense. It was very hard. We did something we've never done before, and that was the freshmen stayed overnight with the rest of the team. Usually the freshmen go home at the end of the day. Um, and the freshmen stayed. And there's the ripple effects of that decision have been very fascinating to watch. Um, I'll say very, very pleased with where JV's at in the JV growth, the culture of the JV team. We had our scrimmage on Friday, and I think that's the best our JV team has ever looked in a scrimmage in my 8 years here. And so I was really, really pleased with that. I think it kind of slowed down some of the football growth that we needed during camp week, but the culture that we got instilled was next level. And so it was a tremendous amount of work, probably the hardest camp week we've ever done, certainly for the coaches. Myself, Gunny, Tommy De La Rosa, Juan Busby, a number of other guys that have all just been crucial parts of our program now for a while. Um, Kurt Heinke. You can just tell by the time we got to the end of the week, we everyone was just tapped, and so I'm thankful to the staff. They really put in an intense amount of work, but it's paying off, and you can see it. The kids are really growing, and we started slow with football, but because we got the culture right, you can kind of see there's a fast tracking of the football side, and so that I'm pleased to see that, and really pleased to see the freshmen's growth and the JV team as well. That was really the big focus and closing that gap a little bit, and it seems like that's taking place. So really, really happy with those things, and the team looks great. We're not perfect right now, obviously. Um, but we've got a number of really, really key players back. We've got a full and complete roster this year. Last year it was pardon the expression, but we were kind of duct taping it together a little bit, and we kind of knew that going into the year that it was going to be a little bit, um, like we were just going to have to kind of piece it together as we went. And so, but the kids last year really overachieved. They bought in, did a great job with the cultural reset stuff that we did. And that really set the tone for this year's team. And I think this year's team is benefiting from the work of last year's team. And so we've got, a number of key players in place that we're very excited about. Thomas Glenn back at quarterback. And he looks great, man. And really, really proud of him. He's really emerged. He's put in a lot of work. He's got his arm strength is greatly improved, much better processing. And he's had a real offseason. When he played last year at quarterback, he hadn't played quarterback since eighth grade. And so, and we put him in. He had no time to prep, but it was the right move last year. And we're excited to kind of see he had a lot of experience last year, and so we're going to get to see the benefits of that this year. And so Tommy looks great. Jaden Ozil, he's a game changer at safety and at wide receiver, and he looks extremely dynamic. He's faster than he was last year. Very physical. He's put on some weight. So really, really pleased with him. Maverick Bright is back and he's healthy. He looks tremendous at tight end. There's no Armin Clayton. Boy, I can't speak enough about Armin Clayton. So proud of that young man. Just the warrior spirit that he has, and the physicality that he brings and the standard that he sets every day for practice. He's one of the team captains. Our four team captains this year are going to be Armin Clayton, Jaden Ozil, um, oh my God, Carter Moreau. Carter Moreau's very, very proud of that young man. He
Yeah.
is really he has grown and matured in a special way. He's going to play running back and outside linebacker and safety for us. Um, Really, just has turned himself into just a very special player, very special young man. And then Champ Morsey. Champ Morsey's our last captain, um, and he's kind of been the anchor point for us for quite some time. Fullback, linebacker. That dude is always dialed in. So really, really proud of where we're at right now.
Champ Morrissey, always a great character to have on the team, on and off the field. I love his personality personally, both with football and around basketball. So
Yeah,
love that guy.
my man champion. That boy gets after it. Very proud
Yeah,
of him.
he's very proud of that guy. Coach, let's talk about your coaching staff real quick. I know you like curveballs in the questionnaire. Any additions to the coaching staff this year? Any change ups, any switching around in personnel and moving guys saying, Coach, I think you're going to be better over here working with tight ends rather than working receivers this year.
Yeah. Um, there's a couple of new faces on the staff that I'm really really excited about. That I think are going to really have already proven to step in and have done just a remarkable job. And so I'll start with Andy Sverchek. Andy used to coach at Mission Prep back in the day with Chad Henry. Went to Slow High School. Has a storied legacy kind of in our area and certainly in the game of football. And so Andy's going to be taking over. He's also our new director of student life on campus. And he's already made his presence known on campus, especially with all of our the cell phone ban that we have going on campus, which has been pretty dynamic and pretty special to see. And so he's got a very, very calm personality. He's a loving soul. And I think a lot of kids are really taking a fast liking to him. He knows how to coach. He knows exactly what he's talking about. So he's going to be our defensive coordinator this year and our defensive line coach. And really, really pleased with what I'm seeing there. Our D line looks fantastic to start out. And I think that's a credit to Coach Sverchek and the work he's doing. He's also our strength and conditioning coach as well for football. Um, Ron Paulson is going to be on our staff as well. He's going to be our other offensive line coach for varsity. Played at Ohio State. Just has a wealth of knowledge, and he's been an instant impact coach for us. Elevated the offensive line the second he got here, and really really pleased with his contributions and thankful for his work as well. Tommy De La Rosa, he kind of joined the staff late last year, but he's been someone that I've been wanting to get on my staff for a long time, and he and I have some great connections. Kind of a there's a deep bond that he and I have. Certainly the coaching background and a lot of the coaching bloodline and the tree that I come from Fontana and that Inland Empire area and all the guys that I'm tight with over there. And he played at Eisenhower, which was the big rival for Fontana. So there's just a lot of common bond stuff that he and I have, and very thankful for his contributions. He's a kindred spirit in every way on this staff. And one I'm very, very excited about is Dan Farino. And Dan Farino has coached for 40 years in the college game. He's been around, played, coached at Cal, coached at Oregon, with Joey Harrington and all those guys in the early 2000s. And then, Cal and Deshaun Jackson and Marshawn Lynch and all those guys were there. He was at Michigan with Denard Robinson. Most recently, he was at Washington State. I got to know him when he was a coach here at Cal Poly with the previous staff. And so Dan has been on campus now for a little bit and part of our staff. And I think he's a fan favorite and he's a kid favorite. The kids absolutely love him. He's hilarious, and uh, he is an absolute. If there's ever like the term expert for sure applies to him, especially on wide receivers and special teams. And so he's been tremendous. And then all the old faces are back and a lot of great people back on the staff. So really really excited about where we're at.
We're very excited. I do want to make one correction there, Coach. It's the Ohio State. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not from there, and I kind of like digging them a little bit. And
I know,
so
I know. Just playing
I,
along there, Coach.
I'm
Let-
a big Harbaugh guy, so I'm enjoying, you know, I'm not an early Michigan guy, but I do like if for some reason like you just throw something in like man, Ohio State, they just that I do enjoy pushing buttons, and that is an easy button to push, man. So
Real quick, I think Harbaugh left Michigan because he didn't want to play Fresno State.
okay.
Anyways, Coach, let's move on. We got a game coming up this Friday, the big game of the year, kicking off the 2024 season. The road trip that I imagine is going to be a 7-hour bus ride, if not longer. We are traveling to San Diego on Friday to face the Eagles, if memory serves me correctly.
Mhm.
And let's talk about how you've scouted this team out to be game number one on the schedule.
Yeah, known about Santa Fe Christian for a long time. Um, this is one of those programs I've admired from afar. A lot of common opponents, so I've seen them over the years. Bishop Diego and some of these other guys that we've played, both when I was at Grace Brethren and then since been here at Mission Prep. So, it's just kind of one of those. It's a team that very similar to us, very similar school size. About the same. About 300, 330 in their high school. Beautiful campus. Some of the same facility issues that we have. They really have one big field, and so it's kind of interesting to see how they've kind of navigated all those things and maximized their space. So we've really enjoyed kind of watching that from afar a little bit. And so in terms of how we got connected, we just reached out to the coach and there's some common connections there, but just started discussing the idea of us going down this year and them coming to us next year. And it really started. It came from was it a year ago, 2 years ago? I can't remember now, but uh, started having an active look at trying to do a big trip with the team. Been wanting to do one for a long time. We looked at Arizona, we looked at Texas, we looked at Idaho, and we started engaging on Idaho. We were actually slotted to play in a big it was California versus Idaho thing. Templeton ended up going up as well. And the about 3 weeks into that planning process, it became evident to me that this was just not it wasn't very feasible for us for a number of different issues. And so I kind of just kept it in the back of my mind. I was like, well, maybe Idaho, we can't do Idaho, but what's something that's cool and that's maybe a little bit closer. And San Diego is beautiful, and so who doesn't like playing in San Diego? So it was very it was a purposeful decision. Santa Fe Christian, the high school is right next to the beach. I wanted it to be kind of an experience for the team. So we're gonna go down Thursday morning. We're gonna stay overnight Thursday night before the game. Our hotel is like right near the water, and we just want to make it it's a business trip, but we want it to be an experience, and we want it to be a great experience for the team. And our opponent is very good, but that was really kind of the reasoning and the thought process behind it was just we've been wanting to do a trip for a while, and it's a lot harder to take a football team somewhere than like basketball or baseball.
Yeah.
Or, you've got 12 kids, 15 kids. We're taking 60 down for this game. And so that's coaches included. So it's going to be, it's an endeavor, a lot of logistical challenges, but it's a worthwhile endeavor and one that we're very excited about. So.
I can agree with you, Coach, 100% that taking 12 to 15 kids plus staff on a basketball trip is a challenge in itself. Being on 3 road trips with the Terrence Harris squad,
Mhm.
I know how difficult that is just to manage 12 to 15 children, young men. I can't imagine 60 plus chaperones and organizing everybody. So you got your hands full, and it's going to be a wonderful weekend. I will be there Friday live broadcasting on PSNtv on the YouTube channel Prep Sports Networks. Check us out, Coach. Any final words before we depart from this lovely preseason show of the Coaches Show?
Just we're really excited to get going. I know there's going to be some people down there at the game. If you can't make the game, I'd say watch it on PSN, and we're excited to compete and get after it. Santa Fe is very good, really really well coached. Um, but it's going to be I think it's going to be an equal game. You know, very equally matched up, and very thankful and excited, and it's going to be a great year.
And for those wondering, the studio under construction behind me next week should be all ready and good to go. A full-on studio for the coaches show. I can't wait. If not next week, 2 weeks. Well, depends on construction, but we're going to have a full studio here ready to go. It's going to be beautiful. Coach, thank you for joining us for the coaches show, and we'll be back next week. We'll see you on Friday. Let's go get them.